Hey everyone! Buckle up. It's time for an epic ride. In a dystopian future, Europe has been ravaged by an apocalyptic disaster, leaving only a few survivors scattered across the continent. A mysterious force is sweeping through the world, capable of manipulating individuals into taking their own lives. This malevolent presence grows stronger by the day. In a skating rink in Barcelona, Sebastian and his daughter Anna find a brief moment of refuge and joy together. But their peace is shattered when they suddenly hear a strange sound and have to flee. As they rush down a corridor, Sebastian accidentally collides with a group of blind individuals and is knocked to the ground. The group strikes him a few times, then steals his bag containing essential supplies before leaving. Sebastian spots a broken bottle nearby and considers using it as a weapon, but Anna urges him not to. The two cautiously cover their eyes as they exit the building, stepping out into the destruction-filled streets, littered with bodies as they've come to expect. After walking for a while, they encounter another group of survivors. Sebastian tells Anna to hide and approaches the group, asking if they can join them. However, the group is wary of Sebastian, fearing he might pose a threat to their safety. To convince them, Sebastian claims to be a former construction engineer and asserts that he knows where to find generators that can provide light and heat. This claim earns him a spot in their group. The group leads Sebastian to a bus station, where they are hiding with other survivors. There, he meets Liliana, a doctor who attends to his injuries. Later, while having dinner, Sebastian meets a man who stitched his own eyes shut as a means of protection and sanity. The man shares horrifying stories about the things people have done under the entity's influence. This man reveals that while most are affected by the entity and are forced to blind themselves, there are a few who remain unaffected. These seers can wander freely through the city without the need for blindfolds. However, those who are not immune become targets and are killed by the seers. That evening, as the group settles in for the night on the bus, Sebastian sees an opportunity. He sneaks away and steals the keys from the office, trying them one by one on the bus. The noise wakes Liliana, and she confronts him, but Sebastian locks the driver's door and insists that he is doing this to free everyone. After several attempts, Sebastian finally finds the right key and begins driving the bus in a clumsy, erratic manner, causing the other survivors to wake up in alarm. The group forces the door open and tries to stop him, but this only makes Sebastian drive worse. Eventually, he crashes through the front door, makes it outside but crashes again, flipping the bus over. As soon as Sebastian crawls out from the wreckage, he declares that the entity is coming, calling it beautiful. One of the men, shocked by what he sees, immediately takes his own life, and Sebastian watches as a glowing light leaves his body. Liliana and the others emerge with their eyes closed, but Sebastian forces them to open them, compelling them to look at the entity. One by one, all the survivors, except for Sebastian, end their lives. As he watches the lights ascend to the heavens, Anna appears once more, taking his hand and reassuring him that everything is fine because he has saved them. A flashback suddenly takes over, taking us back 9 months, when Barcelona first fell under the entity's attack. Sebastian was at work when he received the urgent alert, but by the time he arrived, people in the office were already taking their lives without warning. He rushed to pick up Anna from school, but the streets were in chaos, with people fleeing in panic. When he arrived at the subway station, Sebastian witnessed the devastation firsthand, with people getting hurt and objects floating around him. Realizing something was terribly wrong, he fled just in time, as others were consumed by the entity's power. Returning to the streets, he witnessed a building explode. Enjoying the story so far? Subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support powers our adventures. Don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss an update. Now, let's dive back into the adventure. Sebastian finally reached the school, only to find a dead nun lying at a desk while the girls cowered in fear. He quickly found Anna, and they attempted to escape, but when they reached the entrance, an explosion outside set a fire. They were forced to escape through the chapel, where they encountered Pastor Esteban. Esteban believed the entity to be an angel and that its divine presence made it impossible for people to look at it. To end the suffering, he suggested that humanity should be freed from life itself. This idea deeply troubled Sebastian. He covered Anna with his jacket and rushed to their apartment building, only to witness Anna's mother being hit by a car and killed right in front of him. In the present, Sebastian and Anna stop at a church to offer a quick prayer. Sebastian sees a painting shift, confirming that he is a seer, unable to distinguish reality from illusion. He begins to believe that killing people through the entity's influence is a way of saving their souls. When they return to the streets, they encounter more people ending their lives, and Sebastian once again praises the entity as a beautiful angel, watching the glowing lights leave their bodies. A short time later, Sebastian spots a woman entering a store. He tries to sneak up on her but is attacked by a group of dogs, leading him to a new group of survivors led by Rafa. The group includes Octavio, Roberto, and Isabel, a couple, Claire and Sophia, a young German girl who bears a striking resemblance to Anna. Sebastian asks to join the group, and though Rafa is initially hesitant, Sebastian convinces him with his story about the generators. When objects begin to float in the air, signaling the entity's approach, the group quickly decides to leave. They eventually find refuge in an old anti-war shelter. Sebastian tells the group that he is alone, but Anna continues to appear in the background, urging him to use Sophia to convince the others to come out. Sebastian eventually admits that he lied about the generators, leading to a confrontation. However, Sophia intervenes, not wanting any more people to get hurt. Using her knowledge of German, Sebastian communicates with Sophia and learns that she was separated from her mother during the initial outbreak. She also recounts the horrifying things she witnessed as the entity spread. Sophia mentions hearing about a mountain castle, believed to be the safest place from the entity. She sketches a picture of the castle and a cable car that leads up to it. Isabel recognizes the description and identifies the location as Montjuic. After much debate, the group agrees to head there, hoping to find food and safety within the castle's walls. Before they depart, Sebastian has a strange nightmare, reliving the horrors he's been through. The next morning, they begin their journey to Montjuic, stopping briefly to get a map. Being out in the open again triggers another flashback, where we see Sebastian using the voice from his GPS to guide him to a hospital for Anna, who had developed a fever. Suddenly, objects began to float in the air, and Sebastian had to return to the apartment, unable to get Anna the help she needed. In the present, the group stops for the night and Sebastian continues to see Anna following them from a distance. Once the others are asleep, he takes the opportunity to damage the dog's leash. The next morning, the group is surrounded by the entity, which uses the voices of their lost loved ones to manipulate them. As confusion sets in, the dogs break free from their leash. Sophia hears her mother's voice telling her to uncover her eyes, but Octavio stops her just in time. Rafa, desperate to find his dogs, removes his blindfold, only to see the entity and immediately take his own life. The dogs return to check on him, and Roberto follows, only to be bitten by the animals. Meanwhile, Octavio finds a house that they can use for shelter, and blows his whistle to signal the group to follow him. While Isabel tends to Roberto's wound, Octavio shares his theory about the entity, suggesting that it may be a quantum being capable of manipulating human emotions like fear and grief. Sebastian starts to question his beliefs, but when he notices that Sophia is still crying, he gives her Anna's necklace as a gesture of comfort. This triggers another flashback to when Esteban and his followers took to the streets, forcing people to open their eyes to the entity. Sebastian did everything he could to protect Anna, keeping her inside with music to shield her from the sounds of death. Back in the present, Sebastian realizes that Anna is not truly there. She is an apparition. Claire tries to reach out to him, reminding him that the entity uses their loved ones to manipulate them. But Sebastian's doubts grow. Suddenly, Roberto collapses from his infected wound, and Octavio, Sebastian, and Claire set off to search the building for medicine. In a room with an open window, Sebastian sees Anna once more and asks Octavio to come over. Octavio, still blindfolded, approaches and sees the entity, immediately taking his own life. Sebastian, unable to see the light leaving Octavio's body due to his growing doubts, is urged by Anna to remove Claire's blindfold. However, Claire drags him out of the room before things can escalate further. They return to the couple, and Claire shares what she found in the bathroom with Roberto, while Sebastian continues to wrestle with whether to listen to Anna or Sofia. Later, the remaining group members continue their trek through the city toward Montjuic. Along the way, Sebastian notices bodies marked with Esteban's symbol, and soon their path is blocked by a seer riding a bike. The group tries to escape, but the seer strikes Roberto and Isabel, knocking them down. Realizing there is no way out, the couple removes their blindfolds and chooses to die together before the seer can take them. As the entity approaches, Sebastian pulls Claire and Sofia into a nearby building for safety. Claire realizes that Sebastian's goggles aren't truly dark, meaning he is a seer as well, and that he is responsible for the deaths of the others. Claire grabs Sofia and runs, but Sebastian chases after them, his actions driven by Anna's continued urging. Claire and Sofia take refuge on the roof, but Sebastian corners them, pushing Claire aside before attempting to remove Sofia's blindfold. Before he can succeed, he sees Anna once again. This time she is bleeding. Overcome with guilt, Sebastian abandons his quest to harm Sofia and instead embraces her, as another flashback overwhelms him. Months earlier, Sebastian and Anna were celebrating her birthday when their apartment was broken into. Sebastian was knocked unconscious, and when he awoke, he was on the roof with Anna, Esteban, and his followers. They forced Anna to open her eyes to the entity, and she died before him. After watching his daughter perish, Sebastian also looked at the entity, and Anna's apparition appeared beside him, urging him to free more people. It was then that Sebastian realized that seers are kept alive by the entity, which uses them to claim more victims. In the present, Sebastian rescues Claire and, to earn her trust once more, explains the truth about Anna and swears to protect them. At that moment, Esteban and his followers burst into the building and a fight ensues. Sebastian fights off a woman who tries to ruin his eyes, pushing her away and causing her to fall to her death. The trio escapes the building and steals a car to flee, just barely evading the seers. However, Esteban and his followers pursue them, leading to a high-speed chase through the city. Sebastian drives with desperation, ignoring Anna's ghost. When they reach the cable car tower, they abandon the car, and Sebastian blows it up, taking out a few of the seers. He instructs Claire to take Sofia and continue, while he holds off Esteban. As the two men argue over their philosophies, Claire leads Sofia up a set of old stairs, but Sofia almost falls through a broken step. Luckily, Claire catches her in time. Realizing they can't proceed blindfolded, Claire decides to risk it and removes hers. When they finally reach the top, they discover that the cable cars are not operational. Thinking quickly, Claire rings a large bell, sending vibrations that draw the entity towards them. As it approaches, the environment begins to tremble, including the cable cars. Claire covers her eyes once again as the entity tries to lure them with the voices of their lost loved ones. Just as Sofia is about to fall, Claire manages to save her. Meanwhile, on the ground, Sebastian watches as Anna walks through the burning car and attacks her to rid himself of this painful vision. However, it turns out to be Esteban, who stabs Sebastian with an iron rod. Esteban stabs Sebastian back and the two struggle, each determined not to let go. Meanwhile, Claire jumps into one of the cable cars with Sofia and lands safely, finally making her escape. Esteban succumbs to his wounds and Sebastian dies, but not before witnessing the cable cars in motion. In his final moments, he finds peace, knowing that he helped his friends. Claire and Sofia reach the castle, where they are greeted by military personnel. They discover a thriving community within its walls, and Sofia is finally reunited with her mother. Claire is taken to a laboratory where her blood is tested. She questions the researchers about the purpose of these tests, and they explain they are searching for a chemical marker for trauma, to determine which emotions the entity targets. The goal is to develop an antibody that will provide immunity against the entity. Later, the researchers inject the antibody into rats, placing them in a containment room. In the same room, a seer, possibly one of the experimental subjects, lies in bed. Suddenly, a low growl emerges from the containment room and the seer desperately requests to see it. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to subscribe and check out our other videos. See you next time.